This is Exogeology ROCKS, Episode 9. I am here today with the Senior Editor and Planetary Evangelist at the Planetary Society, Emily Lakdawalla.
Hello.
Will you please tell us a little bit about what you do?
Well, I am a planetary geologist, which means that I studied first geology of Earth, and then I studied geology on other planets, other hard worlds in the solar system. But instead of being a researcher, I wanted to talk to the public about all of the exciting things that are happening everywhere in the solar system, and that's what I do now, working for the Planetary Society, where I have a blog at planetary.org/blog. I write about the latest discoveries in science and exploration. And I also write for Sky and Telescope magazine, and I have a podcast on planetary.org/radio.
That's very cool. So can you tell us a little bit about what we should be exploring next?
Well, of course, a lot of people have a lot of different opinions, and there are wonderful destinations all over the solar system. So I'm going to advocate for one of maybe the less popular ones, but I think it's super cool, and that's the planet Uranus. Uranus is a kind of planet that we have never orbited before. Used to be, we thought of all those four big planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, as gas giants. But now we think of Uranus and Neptune as ice giants. They are very different from gas giants, but they are very similar to many of the planets that we are exploring and discovering in solar systems beyond our own solar system. There are Uranuses and Neptunes everywhere in the galaxy. And so I feel very strongly that we should be exploring the ones in our backyard so that we can understand the ones that are beyond the solar system much better. Plus they have really cool moons. And Uranus is just quicker to get to. And I also think that exploring Uranus the planet would probably get mentioned on Conan and everybody every night, just because everybody loves joking about the name. I think it would be a good thing for planetary exploration.
So get some publicity.
Absolutely, publicity. Any publicity is good publicity, so I'll take it for any reason.
Yes. And I hear that we don't have many outer planets missions going on lately. So you think we should do more?
Yeah, it's a sad story, actually. We've had some great missions recently. We had Galileo at Jupiter, we had Cassini-Huygens at Saturn and Titan. The Voyagers are still going strong, and we have two more outer planets missions out there cruising to destinations right now. That's Juno to Jupiter and New Horizons to Pluto. But at the end of 2017, when Cassini plunges into Saturn and Juno plunges into Jupiter, that'll be the end of 5 decades of outer planetary exploration by NASA. And we can't let that happen. Fortunately, we can fix that by writing to Congress. You go to planetary.org/SOS. You can figure out who all the people are that you need to be writing. You send letters. Congress's job is to respond to what people ask it to do. They won't explore the outer solar system unless we tell them to. And so we need to get people out there telling Congress, yes, we must explore the outer solar system.
Well, that sounds like a great thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the funniest thing that you've ever done?
Well, I have to say the funniest thing that I do is I aggregate the humor that's made by other people. There are a lot of people out there who like to play and joke about what's going on in planetary exploration. I shared a cartoon recently with the Phoenix mission on Mars struggled. The Phoenix mission on Mars was supposed to dig a deep trench and deliver material to its instruments. It wasn't very successful. People started ragging on the mission, and I saw a guy write a cartoon that showed the Phoenix spacecraft having completely covered the whole thing, just the eyes were peeking out of the top of the spacecraft. So I think humor like that can help diffuse scary situations and things where people get angry. And so I like to help disseminate humor about missions as well as the serious stuff.
So what's the most exciting thing you've done?
The most exciting thing I've done is to be in Darmstadt, Germany, when the Huygens mission, which was a little probe that was bolted to the side of Cassini, went down below Titan's hazy clouds for the first time and saw the surface of another world. It's the surface of a world that is a moon in the outer solar system. It's got its own atmosphere that is actually a lot like Earth's atmosphere. And we got this probe down there, the clouds parted, and the landscape looked like Long Beach, California. There was like a river emptying into a sea. It wasn't actually a wet sea, it was a dry one. This is a desert. And when Huygens put down, we saw on the ground round rocks. And if you're not a geologist, you don't understand how exciting round rocks are. A round rock is a rock that has been tumbled over and over and over in a fast-moving stream. So we knew just from that one picture of round rocks that Titan, a moon, was a world that had water or a water cycle, except it's Titan, it's in the outer solar system. It wasn't water that rounded these rocks. It was liquid methane and ethane running in rivers, raining from the sky, rounding these rocks and filling seas on this alien world. It was so familiar and yet so completely different that I don't think, it's going to be really hard to equal that. That I think was probably my favorite moment so far in planetary exploration.
Well, landing on Titan is certainly an exciting thing that happened. And to be able to see that, that sounds really awesome.
It was amazing. It was amazing to be there.
So how did you get into this field?
Well, like I said, I was a geologist, so I was a field geologist on Earth. My field work was in northeastern Washington. I decided not to go straight to graduate school in geology. I went and taught middle school science for 2 years. I taught 5th and 6th grade science. And it was while I was teaching those kids, and they were doing a space simulation project where they had to put together a simulated space mission. It was a cross-disciplinary thing in their school. And it occurred to me that maybe I could study geology on planets other than Earth. And so I asked my advisor in college, and she said, why, yes, my advisor at the University of Arizona used to dabble in that part of planetary science. Why don't you talk to him? And I talked to him, and he suggested other people I should talk to. And so I went to Brown University and studied planetary science. And it's just so much fun. It's a great field to be in because you get to be a dilettante. You get to work on many different worlds. You don't have to be too narrowly specialized. And I just love geology as a field because with geology, you're often trying to build a story with only tiny amounts of evidence. And so it actually takes a very creative person to be able to be a good geologist. And so people come into geology from English and art and history, and they're very well-rounded and well-read people. So it's just a great group of people to hang out with, and I absolutely love the field.
So, last of all, do you have any advice for kids who want to get into planetary science?
Sure, I would say, any math and science classes are important, but I will also give what is probably a less commonly heard piece of advice, which is that being able to write and express yourself is also incredibly important. There's no scientist who is able to explore the solar system without writing a grant proposal to NASA. And if you can't express your ideas clearly and explain to other people what it is you want to do through good speech and good writing, then you will never get the money to do the great science and engineering that you want to do. So I think that being able to communicate with people is just as important as being able to do math and understanding the science.
Well, that makes sense. That sounds like good advice.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for talking with us today. It's been really interesting.
Well, it's been my pleasure, and thank you very much for asking me.
This has been Exogeology Rocks, Episode 9. Thanks for watching.